Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant IV back again. And on this video right here, this particular video right here, I wanted to post up some original thoughts way back in the day. All right. Um, off of when Dr. Joy DeGruy came out with her writings on cognitive dissonance. And what I wanted to show, and there was something that Dwight Hayes wrote, very insightful, that kind of piggybacked off of a video that I did. And there was something that I wanted to add to these thoughts. Now that, as y'all seen, I've done a lot more research and able to connect some more of the dots. All right. And I kept saying this. My perception of our adversaries, and by adversaries, I mean those of the Afro community, and in particular, the children and the Afro men. All right. Here's the thing, and I want y'all to understand this. When I say the Afro men have adversaries, that means the attack is not just on them, but it is their seed. That means the children too. So anyone that is not a fan of male leadership, anyone that's involved in the assault on Afro manhood, I want y'all to understand this. They are also against their seed, the children. Remember, the reason why you want the assault on the Afro man is so that you can have access to destroying the children through training. Period. That would be the first line of indoctrination. Why would you be able to indoctrinate them? Well, you've destroyed their protection, the man. Most men tend to protect their seeds, whereas many of the women use the seed of the man as a resource when it comes out of their womb. They're not seeking to protect, they're seeking to exploit. They'll exploit what comes out of their womb to get over on the man to get the man's resources, but they'll exploit it. And yet and still, you got brothers that's going to run around and trust a big butt and a smile because it's a big butt and a smile, even though these women will not have anything to do with you if you're an actual decent man trying to fight for the spirituality of the community. All right, I want you to understand this. Let me greet everybody real quick. Havorten Hardu Gudag, Ola Oi to the Bang, Vasas Los, Bonjour mes amis, Kedu Bawani Konnichiwa, Ni Hao Ni Ama, Sani Bonani, Jambo Habarigani, Assalamu alaikum and Shalom. Now, I will show again, I've noticed that the people that brought our descendants over here from the Africas and the people that came to this continent and saw us already here and understood that we were here tens of thousands of years before the Mongolian, which is referred to as the Red Man. All right, they understood this, but they saw Negroids already here, and they brought Negroids from Africa here. All right, we refer to them as the slavers. Keep in mind that the slavers primarily were Christians, and the first one, we'll get into that, primarily were Christians. Our current slavers now are not only Christian, they're melanated with weave. All right? And the betrayers, and somebody found this interesting. When you find these BAWs going really, really natural, it's not for the Afro man in his community. It's to try to attract a Caucasian man. Like I said, adversaries. All right. And the worst thing they hate is the person that's fighting for the spirituality and morality of the community. That would be guys like me. We're not fighting to get some behind. Shoot, that come dime a dozen for us. We're fighting for the spirituality and the morality of the community. And we're not talking about religiosity. All right, so we're going to get into some thoughts that I had in the beginning, some of my very first videos. But we're going to interject some things in here. And you can see some kind of growth into my foundation being more solid the more I've seen of the BAW. And that's why I said the cognitive dissonance, yes, is one of many things that the modern independent BAW and our Anglo Christians slave masters had or have in common. All right? But first, let's get those thumbs up. Let's share the videos. Please share the videos. We got to bring this channel back up. Remember, it keeps being under attack primarily because someone at Google understands that I'm a black male. Google is implicit in allowing these things to happen. For those of you that would like to talk to the lawyer, y'all might have seen him on the Advise show and Willie D. So I've made contact with him. Y'all can hit me up and I'll send you his information. All right. And we might be able to do a class action against this is because they are summarily allowing those that have concern about the community. They're allowing black women, whomever that works within Google and YouTube to summarily take down our channels. Keep this in mind and remember, I had a video as major proof about adulterous pastors that was struck on this channel. It's the video that struck on this channel that prevents me from doing from going live, Google Hangout live, right? They struck it on this channel for nudity, and it had no nudity in it, absolutely none. And we know this for sure is because Facebook checked it out. I screenshot the information from Facebook of them apologizing because the same person had it struck on Facebook. Facebook actually looked at it and said, no, there's absolutely no nudity here. I depicted an actual service event of a pastor in Africa with women on the beach, but I redacted all the nudity. So you didn't see it. All right. At the same time, a Caucasian channel had a woman's top cut off, fully anatomic and fully nude on the floor. It was a cartoon skit, basically, but it was nudity. It had 2 million views. I sent that to the lawyer too. So we're gathering up evidence against YouTube and Google showing the bias and how they're going after Afro men for speaking the truth, for talking about our own community in which we live, doing the research, all right, and they're allowing people with it on YouTube because they get people on YouTube to be community police, and these people on YouTube also have a bias in that if they think your channel is too good, they try to have it taken down so that they don't have competition. All right. Either way, it's still racist. So if you need contact for this lawyer, hit me up. And y'all know, y'all have my email just in case they take channels down, keep taking channels down. Y'all have my emails. All right. To donate to my channel for what I am doing, my PayPal me link will be in the description box. And let's keep what we do for the community separate from the GoFundMe that I put up. And the reason why I want to do that is if you take all we do and we put it into we want help from the outside with the GoFundMe. Because we're the only ones, that one is to help the school. But we're trying to help the community and the children in the community that can't get into the school. And if we take all the resources from the channel and just transfer them from the channel to the GoFundMe, understand this, and understand this, we will have nothing to give to the people that are in more need than the people in the school. Y'all seen the video. Y'all seen the video. If you look at the GoFundMe video, you'll see all the people on the outside. Those are the people that's not getting into the school. All right? So, like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, click that bell. And when you click the bell, click all. All right? All right, so let's get into this little breakdown, okay? I want to stop y'all for a minute before we get into this. Hawkins, John Hawkins, or not, all right. He was the first one not to have slaves, but he was the first one, the first slave captain of Caucasian descent to bring Africans to the Americans, to the Americas. All right. He had a famous quote on his ship. He said to the slaves, Jesus is your new God, and I am his representative. Now, you can read this as I talk a little more about the beginning of this, and Dr. Joy DeGruy will be featured in here. As I look, I kind of split up her thing. I looked at her thing on cognitive dissonance, and basically, she looked at everything from the female point of view. Well, she's a female, but 2/3 of the slaves were males. And remember, 68% of black people that owned slaves were black women, 68%. The rest were descendants of white men. In other words, there was no descendant of black man and a black woman, all right, or dare I say, of the indigenous or Afros or Negroid people, where both parents were Negroid, they did not own slaves. All right. There's a thing going on that they're trying to say that the first man in the United States to own slaves was a black man. That's a lie. This guy is the first. Sir John Hawkins, right? He was the first one to bring slaves to the Americas. And when we say the Americas, we're talking about the islands first. All right. And the Portuguese, they were dealing with slaves, but mainly in Angola and stuff like that. All right. He was the first one to bring them across the Atlantic. Then the Portuguese and the Spanish followed suit. All right. Remember the quote. He says, and this is where the Jesus is your new God, and I am his representative. That's a quote from him. All right. So let's continue.
Hey YouTube, what's up? This is the reluctant Nabi back again. Uh, Oi to my Brazilian peeps and to the bang. And how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? All right, brothers. This is primarily the concentration on my reviews and videos are strictly going to be geared towards the brothers. All right, and I mean brothers, and I'll point that out in a minute. This means that if your mama black but your daddy's white, you're not my brother. You belong to the white community. And that's all good, you know, but I'm talking biblically. If your mama white, your daddy black, then you belong to the black community. There's no such thing as mixed.
Oh, the reason why they came up with mixed is to show so confusion, especially if the daddy's white. It was primarily to give the white man, an out to be able to do anything they wanted with a Negro woman and not really having the responsibility of leaving anything for the child that is born of that woman. Because they always saw her less than, and they still do, but they understood um, that not only could they assault the Negro woman, but most of the time, and this is according to slave narrative, most of the time, the Negro woman gave it up to them because that's what they were doing in Africa anyway. Remember, that's how the Dutch got a foothold in Africa. The Negro women, when they saw these Caucasian men, they were marrying them in Africa. That's how the Nzumbi, this queen, remember, the very people that you're worshiping and hopping all over in Black Panther, those Dora Milaje, these were part of the people that were capturing slaves for the Portuguese and the Dutch. All right, this queen adopted Christianity and then had all the elders that kept the traditions of the land sent to the Americas as slaves. You know, so remember this. Anytime there was a black queen, it ended in treachery for the land. And that queen was used, like Cleopatra, Queen Nzumi, by all the European men and run through by them too.
If your daddy's white, then you're white. If your daddy's black, then you're black. Bottom line. Or whatever nationality that dad is, that's what the child is. All right. And that's the community that the woman belongs to, mentally and in their heart, because they chose that. All right. With that said,
And I wanted to make this clear. So when a and this goes out to you, so-called black woman, when you go and get whoever you get, whatever man, community of man you get, that's the community you belong to. You can't have it both ways. That's the problem. That's why we call you treasonous. Because you want to say that you're part of a community that you don't want to be a part of. If you wanted to be a part of it, then you would have gotten a good man from that community. But no, you'll go get anything from the Caucasian community. They can have no legs, no thighs, quadriplegic. All right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you will talk to one of them and not complain. But a hardworking, strong Afro male who will be in charge of the house, you will complain all day and H8 that man for wanting to do good. Think about that. If you go and get a man of another community, just like if we go get another woman, we bring her into our community, our home, because communities are based on the household. And if the man is the head of the household and a woman gets with that man, then she's saying she is taking that man's leadership. And so basically, the black woman is taking the leadership of the Caucasian man over the Afro man. She no longer belongs to that the Afro community. Period. Just like Caucasians understood that when and the Hispanic that when an Afro man get one of their women, she no longer belongs to that community. She might belong to the family, but the family is like, well, she's a part of that black community now, and that's how they call us. All right, but we're the Afro indigenous community, the brothers that's waking up with morality and little dignity.
Said, let's get started. And this is basically the concentration. This is going to concentrate on the religion that our black mamas sucked us into, that have been so putrid to the health of our community, the health of our mentality, and the health of our spirituality. And it, this religion is Christianity is able to do this because we operate in a vacuum of ignorance when it comes to this. All right. And so the other, um, I guess, sub part of this is to show the love that most of the modern day black women have for this white man and his white man system that have allowed them to get ahead so much that they have utterly destroyed the black community. Not the white man, the black woman under the tutelage of the white man have destroyed the black community. All right. And so I'm going to point out some of the ways that she's done it. And remember, these are the same black women that if you look at the things, they'll talk about a man.
All right. So let me pause right here and just give people a little more time to read. All right. So, like I said, Sir John Hawkins started a Christian, a devout Christian, understand this, started the slave trade.
Hey, YouTube, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. Disagreement with a black man. Um, the black man is always going to have a fight. Um, the woman is ratchet towards the black man, and we're talking about good black men. Um, Even though the black man has intelligence, she wants him to dumb himself down so that
And this is a continuation of the video that I first put up, okay, just as a reminder.
she could be elevated above him. All right, dudes, we don't have to put up with it. Remember, there are more of them than us good black men. And if they don't learn young, older men, we need to leave the older women alone and start going for the younger women. Because the older women you would think would know better and would want something good, but they don't. Most of them can't recognize a good man. And if you do anything good for them or try to be nice to them, they think something is wrong with you. That means something is wrong with them. All right. So, in the beginning, for you brothers that are not aware of this, and some of the sisters that have their head on their shoulders, the Christian religion was beat into us and used to enslave us. All right.
And this is when I talk about that mental and spiritual enslavement. All right, because the strongest thing about us and what made us the most rebellious on these ships, right? Now, I want y'all to understand something. If you read, I want y'all to pick up on a couple of things. That what he did, what John Hawkins did, was he conned, understand this. I want y'all to get this. If you wonder why some of the Africans were so docile on his ships, all right, and why they were willing to accept his theology, is this, all right, off the coast of Sierra Leone, right? He promised if you go look at the second paragraph, he promised Africans free land and riches in the new world. All right. He sold them in the Dominican Republic. So he turned them into Christians, all right, so that they would be docile and turn the other cheek. He taught them that they're supposed to love. Why would they teach love? Why do Christians teach love? Because it's a trait that they teach those that are enslaved to love their slavers, even though the slavers don't love them. All right. It is a one sided religion taught by the people that don't follow it. All right. And then the people that they get to follow it end up being brainwashed by a system that means them no good and has nothing to do with the Most High. All right. It takes away our spirit to fight because they teach us we're supposed to love our enemies. But the Most High says he don't love the enemies. He ate the enemies of his children. Those who do us evil. Those who bless us, he bless. Those who do evil against us, he H. Look at King Darius under Daniel. The Most High was with that king. All right. Why? Because he did just by the Most High's children. All right. And so understand this.
This guy, Sir John Hawkins, he was the person that started the slave trade. All right. And here you have Queen Elizabeth involved and the English, period. The English, the Portuguese, and the Spanish. All right. And so this is where your slave trade comes from. Now, with more on this, I would like for y'all to listen to part of a lecture by Dr. Joy DeGruy. That's Degruy, Leary, right? And after this, go look her up on Google and listen to a lot of the stuff she pointed out. I've only taken snippets to show how evil our black women have become and how misled us black men are when it comes to this. Now, the reason why I don't go as far as to call um, black men evil is that the evil black men know they're evil. And black men do not support, black men do not identify with, black men generally don't have anything to do with it. And when you look at the awakening of our history and of what our real faith is supposed to be, the elevation of the commandments over religion, um, where you look at a group of people trying to tell the other group of people to do better, it's the black men in droves telling other black men and educating other black men. You don't find that with women. As a matter of fact, when black men are educating other men and women. The women will fight that, bring evil to that educational forum, and spew all kind of nasty obscenities in that. Not only that, even black women that say that they are good, which I disagree with for this reason, they will then turn on the good black men in solidarity with the behavior of the evil black women just because they're black. In other words, the proverbial, you can't say nothing about a black woman because she's a black woman and you're supposed to just love her whatever she do. No, the Bible says we're supposed to hate. The Bible says that our hearts will turn to hatred towards her. All right, and I'll prove that at the end. And you will see this in a lot of my videos, these scriptures. All right, and I picked out the best ones that explain what's going on in our community. All right, so I mean, listen to this lady. Now, let me give a. She is worthy of a. So check out my intro to Dr. Joy DeGruy Leary. And here's some of the things she has to say. You'll hear her twice. The woman is ratchet towards the black man, and we're talking about good black. Um,
In our, of course, I'm going to kind of pop back and forth through British history and
And this is a continuation of the video that I first put up, okay, just as a reminder.
American history. James Madison was a very important figure in American history, President of the United States, 1751 to 1836. He said, blacks are inhabitants, but as debased by servitude below the equal level of free inhabitants, which regards the slave as divested of 2/5 of the man. This is called the 3/5 compromise. And what they were trying to figure out is, what are we going to do? How are we going to count these black folks? Because, you know, based on how many people you have residing in a particular state, the more representatives you can send to the House of Representatives, and thus the more power that particular state can wield. So the question was, how do you count the slaves? Well, Southerners, who of course enjoyed slavery.
And this is when I talk about that mental and spiritual enslavement. All right, because the strongest thing about us and what made us the most rebellious on these ships, right? Now, I want y'all to understand something. If you read, I want y'all to pick up on a couple of things. That what he did, what John Hawkins did, was he conned, understand this. I want y'all to get this. If you wonder why some of the Africans were so docile on his ships, all right, and why they were willing to accept his theology, is this, all right, off the coast of Sierra Leone, right? He promised if you go look at the second paragraph, he promised Africans free land and riches in the new world. All right. He sold them in the Dominican Republic. So he turned them into Christians. All right. So that they would be docile and turn the other cheek. He taught them that they're supposed to love. Why would they teach love? Why do Christians teach love? Because it's a trait that they teach those that are enslaved to love their slavers, even though the slavers don't love them. All right? It is a one-sided religion taught by the people that don't follow it. All right? And then the people that they get to follow it end up being brainwashed by a system that means them no good and has nothing to do with the Most High. All right? It takes away our spirit to fight because they teach us we're supposed to love our enemies. But the Most High says he don't love the enemies. He ate the enemies of his children. Those who do us evil. Those who bless us, he bless. Those who do evil against us, he does he H. Look at King Darius under Daniel. The Most High was with that king. All right. Why? Because he did just by the Most High's children. All right. And so understand this.
slavery, they wanted to count them. They said, yeah, count them. That gives us more power. Where the Northerners saw it as an opportunity to abolish slavery, said, well, you can't count them because you don't consider them human. How can you count people who have absolutely no freedom that you do not count or treat as human beings? So the agreed upon solution is to count 3/5 of a state's total slave population. And so as a result, they became 3/5 of a man, divested of that. But it's almost as though you're not talking about a human being anymore. And that's what's scary about this. And I always start my talks by saying that when you see folks dressed up like this, and I know you all see a lot of them, you should get worried. I always get concerned when I see them dressed up like that, like this guy here. This next guy was someone that I struggled with. You all know him, Richard Oswald. He's the son of a Presbyterian minister, international trader of enslaved Africans. What's so deep about this gentleman is how wealthy he became as a result. He would be worth, based on the 1700s, right now he would be worth $68 million. Based on the number of slaves and slave trade and colonies, ships, all the stuff that he basically utilized. But again, these folks are held in high regard. When I read about him in your history, you would never know. Google him. You'd never know the ugly trade that he was engaged in because we've sanitized it, you see. It all got kind of sanitized. But what's important is to understand the wealth amassed. And see, this is where people get afraid, particularly Europeans. This is where the whole, oh my God, dare I say the big ugly word, most folks are afraid of, because we don't really care too much about the healing stuff. Go on and get better, you people. But don't try to touch the resources. That would be reparations. We don't want to have that conversation. We're okay if you all go heal, however you're going to do that. But let's not talk about the reparations story. But when you start looking at the wealth amassed, then you got to look at the Church of England. It gets real ugly, because then you start realizing what is a foundation for the Church of England. Folks that blessed the slave ships. And then, of course, and this is interesting about John Newton, because we all know about, the first thing you hear, John Newton, what's the next thing you hear? Amazing Grace. John Newton, Amazing Grace. Well, let's figure out what happened before he got Amazing Grace. He said slaves are lesser creatures without Christian souls and thus are not destined for the next world. Now, what becomes important about this kind, and you'll see it both in American history as well, there is this kind of dehumanization of African people. Because you got to ask yourself this question: how do people who deem themselves superior, who see themselves
Now, now you got an understanding why the modern day black church is going into its intended purpose of being full of weak female led men and the black women feeling that they have the freedom to do any kind of craziness that they want to do. And those weak minded men who are drugged there by the same women with the promise of something, the same way that John Hawking drugged the some of the Africans on his ship with some of the same promises. Like I said, they have something in common. All right, they're the new masters of the system that has kept us enslaved. Or let's just say managers of said system. Or catchers. You know, the slave catchers. The white haze then broke something up down further. All right. And he goes into details. He said the reason why the Most High commanded Israel not to take wives of other melanated people, because I named out the tribes, and he's going to break down the tribes, right? Just like you, Israel. See, a lot of these guys running around, they're Israelites. We can't take, understand this, a righteous man can't even take women from these quote unquote Israelite groups. Is because they got them not worshiping the Most High too. All right. They served and worship idols and pagan gods, not your God, Israel, the one true and ever living God. Get this through your stiff necks. This is the white haze, right? Iron sinewed and racialist heads. All right. So the dude said, "Oh, look at her skin. She's not melanated. So you can't have nothing to do with her. But take this wicked women that'll put you in jail, that will lie on you, that will abort your child and stuff like that. You're supposed to save your seed for that woman, the one that's going to fight you for domination over the house, for control over the house, that's going to try to get you to go left into worshiping another god." This is the black woman. Yeah, these quote unquote Israelite keep coming to people's channel saying, "Oh, it has different colored skin and not the character," and they want you to stick it out and wait on the one that's going to do all this kind of treachery, right? He goes, "It's not because they were white women's or women's of other races." And he said, all right, so he did the research. He says this, the white haze. He wrote this. "Let me make it easy for the Israelite D police." So this is dedicated to the D police. "Hittites worship the sun god Araniti of the city of Arana, sun goddess and consort of Tarhunt. Gerashite, these are the people mentioned in the Bible, were worldly and did not believe in anything that could not be seen and would not worship that which they could not see, rationalize, or analyze." Sound like white people. All right, but no, these are black people. "Amorites worship the gods uh, Amuru and Martu." Amuru was a patron god of the Mesopotamian city Ninab. "Canaanites were polytheistic with family typically focusing on veneration of the dead in the form of the household gods and goddesses. The Elohim, while acknowledging the existence or worshiping of other deities such as Baal and El Asherah and Azarte." Hold on, he's not done. "The Perizzite literally means belonging to a village. These are village people with little minds. They live near the Canaanites, and Canaans followed their gods and Yeah, they followed the gods and goddesses of the Canaanites and were known for horribly low self-esteem, laziness, and limited vision. Jebusites. Remember, these are the people of Deuteronomy and Ezra. Jebusites were wheat thrashers known for their suppression of spiritual authority and legalizing the means to do so. So if you were a spiritual person, they dealt with you legally to make sure they suppressed your spirituality. Dang, they sound just like Google. Moabites worshiped the god Shemos. Shemos was the national deity of the Moabites, and the name was most likely meant destroyer, subduer, or fish god, Dagon, or Dagon. According to Judges 11:21-4, Shemos seems to have been the national deity of the Ammonites, also alongside Moloch. Mithrites, aka Egyptians, were polytheistic whose god chief was Amun-Ra. They worship a pantheon of gods and goddesses with 10 primary gods and goddesses with over 2,000 in the pantheon of worship. Y'all get it? Yeah, some of y'all won't. All right. For all you Baptists, I want y'all to notice something. If y'all seeing all these things, all these people that I am pointing out, the Baptists, the Presbyterians, all your religions originated with the white man. All your denominations originated with the white man. Every last one of your denominations originated with the white man. All right, my finishing thoughts.
I wanted you to understand the similarities between the white man and the black woman of today. Now, understand that the black people in this time did not practice Christianity. They went to the church and church was beat into them, but they used the church to develop the Underground Railroad, to send messages to one another since they were forced to go. All right. But the same way the white man forced the slaves to go to church, the black women and grandmothers forced the children to go to church, sort of around the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. We were forced to go to church. During Jim Crow, it was the way to go and get stuff handed out. But this religion of the white man was forced on the black children, and it was ingrained in us by our black mothers. Why? To keep us subjugated to the white man for a bunch of reasons. All right. But it was to make us less of fighters, especially us males. That's why black women are okay with men being gay, but they're not okay with polygamy. You understand? All right. And this is why I now call the black woman evil. All right. So let's hear more from our good doctor. Um, oh, dang. I'm on the wrong thing. Well, maybe let's not hear more from our good doctor. Oh, yeah, I did want to make this short. So let's just say this. In my final thoughts, all right, you notice that all the stuff that happened to us that was evil was done by Christians. Know the tree by the fruit it bears. If the tree brings forth bad fruit, then that tree is a bad tree. All right? And it should be cut down and taken out of that system. And this is Christianity. So the first slave ship, Christians, that brutalized, raped the men and the women. All right? The Amazing Grace came from a Christian, written to be sang as they lynch black men. All right? And the black women put that song in the hearts of black people that we now sing it and have our president singing it at a funeral, probably knowing how disastrous that song has been to us. All right. So we need to stop singing stuff and doing stuff that has been given to us by white people because it wasn't given to us to do us any good. All right. So you had this is your people that did stuff to us in the name of their God and religion, which is pagan. It was the Baptists. For all you Baptist women out there, yes, you are part of this. You are part of this evil. When you went down and gave your life and soul to the Baptist church, all right, then that made you a part of this evil, which now makes you evil. All right. It says scripturally you're supposed to come off among the evildoers, but you went headlong into them because they blessed you with allowing you to tear apart the black community. Okay, the Presbyterians. And if you saw on the other slides, pause them for a minute and look at the origins. All our major denominations is the result of these people that saw nothing, that had nothing to do with us but wanted us destroyed. Now, we ended up being three-fifths of a human being as far as Congress was concerned. But as far as the slave masters, Madison was concerned, we were only two-fifths of a human being. Remember, three-fifths is a compromise. That's halfway. They thought we were two-fifths, but they say, okay, we'll give you halfway between one-fifth and five-fifths. We'll give you three-fifths. So understand this pathology. All right. Now, why do I harp on black women? Because anybody that puts their family and indoctrinates their family with this kind of ignorance and with this kind of evil and call this type of evil good is evil. Evil is what evil does. All right. There is no other way to put it. All right. At the end of the day, ignorance is not bliss, it's dangerous. With that said, I'm out. I wanted you to understand.
Yep, it's time to let them hit that wall. Let all these BAWs and their religion and their white Jesus hit the wall.